Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tim, and this is Indie Friday. This week we're taking a look at the latest in the stream of hits coming out of Adult Swim games,
Super Comboman.
This side-scrolling platform brawler is a wonderfully crafted refinement of the genre, framed inside of a cute, hand-drawn sticker style. After a wonderfully adorable, albeit hunger-inducing intro, we meet the titular Struggles, a mulleted, slightly paunchy comic book fan armed with a talking fanny pack, and his little brother Biscuit, as they struggle to make enough money to get by. But when a job opening and a comic book inspiration combine, Struggles decides to get that job by busting things up the only way that he can, with his punches. And that's where the actual game part starts us, in a tutorial level that's slightly hand-holdy at worst, but thorough, giving us a basic rundown of the entire moveset. And it's pretty standard fare mechanics-wise. You press punch to punch, using the directional keys to modify the direction of the hit. The smash attack is the same, only stronger. There are blocks and dashes and counters that will become very valuable later on, so learning to incorporate them now saves you a lot of headache later. And every so often you'll run into a bit of dialogue or narration that will set the scene for you, but other than that, you're on the job, running through levels, punching guys in the face repeatedly, punctuating the ends of chains with a smash attack, and using the physics systems all in your favor, which can often clear out entire areas for easier punching. Money is literally all around you, in the enemies, in the walls, in the lights, everywhere you can punch. Even in the form of a giant paycheck you get at the end of every level. The map is full of secret areas to find as well, each holding more cash or secret stickers for collecting. And using an expanded repertoire of punches, kicks, slams, fireballs, and perks bought at the store, progression in the harder stages becomes a little smoother. So yeah, mechanically speaking, it's fairly standard. But hey, I get it. For someone, this is their first platformer, and it's a cute one for it. And for those who have a bunch of experience in this kind of genre, it's a refreshingly crisp and challenging struggle. Of course, part of the challenge is in the controls themselves. You see, the combat system takes your presses as they come in. What I mean by that is while I'm sitting here pressing the attack button 500 times wondering the third hit will come up so I can use the smash attack at a crucial second, the game registers that as too many regular attack presses and continues to swing away, which leaves you vulnerable and you suddenly miss your opportunity to counter or dodge or whatever you planned on doing. So it forces you to stay calm under what becomes rather heavy pressure later on, thinking more about the positioning of your punches and number of button presses rather than just barging in. Another thing you'll notice is that the gauge over your head tracking the combo count slowly fades out at a steady rate, in plain sight, above the one object you'll be looking at more than any other, yourself. This gives you a clear tell of the next time you need to smash something to keep the combos going, which is important because reaching the 30 hit and 70 hit marks activate your perks, whichever you chose, and suddenly they can make even the most difficult sections manageable. Not to mention, you feel really good when that number climbs higher than it ever has before because of the new moves you've learned. Getting the higher combos also means that the enemies and items will drop more money, which is incredibly nice. And that serves to illustrate my point. The systems put in place by the game itself help serve both the gameplay and the atmosphere. And that's simply good design. And this game is filled with multiple examples like that. So a game this sweet and simple you would think would be nice and easy, and you are so very wrong. Don't be fooled by its cuddly exterior. This game will mercilessly test your skill and reflexes. This game will cause you to say a lot of very bad things at a volume you thought previously unattainable. And it will probably make you grab a good old-fashioned D-pad controller. Now let me tell you why. Make no mistake, this game gets really hard later on. The enemies become grouped in more complementary ways, making cornering them more difficult. The checkpoints are not the most evenly paced, and sometimes it looks safe to go barging in fists a-swinging. And that can get you brutally slaughtered very quickly. Or worse, trapped in between two enemies, unable to jump out. Not to mention that a lot of the moves utilize a quarter circle forward or back or a front to back motion, usually found in some fighting games. It works fine enough on the keyboard, but if your controller has a disc-based directional pad or a thumbstick, you'll find yourself flubbing moves that you swear you put incorrectly. But when the game reads this as this, you can't be 100% accurate. Something very critical in a reflex-based brawler. You have 3 lives to start with, but if you lose them, it's all the way back to the beginning of a sometimes rather lengthy level, which usually has at least one slightly bullshit life-draining screen to get past. And of course, there's the potential that after you finish a particularly hard section, another even more terrible board lies in wait for you, killing you instantly. And suddenly you're down a life, you've learned a lesson, but you may still get screwed over when you get to the boss, needing that one last life to figure out how to kill him. The only way to get extra lives is by gathering 1,000 coins, which makes searching everywhere on the map that much more critical. Most of the enemies have distinctive mechanics as well, and are easily recognized amongst themselves in the chaos. There are regular workers in the yellow outfits that charge at you normally, the giant spiky-haired guy who prefers to use it like a saw blade, giant lumbering hulks that can transform into blocks when they die, special bosses that come back to bother you later, and these purple bastards. These purple bastards. This bizarre gent and more get introduced at a manageable but rapid pace, along with interactable environmental disasters, the obligatory wall of death levels, and quick jumping sections. And with each new tactic you learn, you yourself feel a little more excited about getting better. But can you actually upgrade your character? Shoryuken! Sorry, I couldn't help it. Going to the store allows you to spend the hard-punched money, gaining more powerful multi-hit moves, access to other perks, and because you can go back and replay old levels to earn extra bucks, obtaining all of the upgrades before moving on to the harder stages is pretty easy. But there are only so many moves, and you can only use 2 perks at a time. So once you get the ones you want, there's little incentive to go back and get the rest other than idle curiosity. That being said, it does feel pretty good to go back and wreck shop on an old level that gave you so much difficulty later on, just to get that gold fanny pack medal thing. But I can't help but feel like the stickers littered around the stages are a bit of a missed opportunity, as they are purely cosmetic and have no real effect on the gameplay. It would be really nice if some of the stats that don't get regularly augmented, jump height, punch speed, things like that, could be increased by plastering yourself with stickers of yourself. Listen, I understand the difficulty in implementing something like that, and it should have been done from the beginning. I'm just saying that in a game this simple, it would have been nice. The options menu is very sparse with no graphical options to change, and only on and off switches for the music and sound. And the controller pad support doesn't seem to register the triggers on my particular controller, but that may just be an issue with my hardware, not the game itself. But you can view the credits and reset your data, so there is that at least. But that, plus the few control issues and some brutally unforgiving sections, are a few very tiny nits to pick in an otherwise solid game, most of which are capable of being patched away in the future if the developers were so inclined, hint hint, wink wink, nudge nudge. But all in all, you're left with a very fun to pick up brawler with controls just complex enough to feel like you have to work to master them. And you feel really good once you reach that point too. The punches feel properly weighted and it flows smoothly once you get a feel for the game, and the mechanics all seem to funnel to one place, making you want to be better at punching things, which to me is one hallmark of success. And so when you look back at the games that have come out of Adult Swim games lately, Super House of Dead Ninjas, Volgar the Viking, Jazz Punk, Sound Dodger Plus, and many, many others, one thing is clear. They have a handle on the niche challenge games that reflect a love of the classics, as well as a great habit of working with studios that clearly know how to make games. From sound design to level layout, stylization to story twists, each game is wonderfully satisfying to master, and once you do, you keep coming back, just to repolish lost skills, or to get that little ego boost from pulling off something awesome after having stepped away for a bit. And Super Comboman is no exception. You can grab it on Steam for $14.99, or a DRM-free version with and without the soundtrack on the game's main website. Links to that will be down below. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and as always, we'll see you next time.